All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Back to the Flight bi-weekly marketing clinics. Has been a bit of a break between this one and the last one because of Mardi Gras and various other interruptions. But the aim is to try and do these pretty consistently throughout the program. The only times when we won't be doing these are if there is a big holiday season coming up or during the batches of learning for personal finance and business finance. So we'll put all of these on YouTube, as I said, and we'll try and make them as consistent as possible. I'm going to hand everything over to Orhan now, who is going to run the session.
Excellent. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be back. And it's spring. Happy spring equinox. That'll be at 4 a.m. What I find fascinating is it's the point where the sun is parallel with the equator. So it's the one time of year that you get equal light and equal dark. And then from there, it begins to be more light because we move into the tilting of the axis in the northern hemisphere. But I just think I just love stuff like that. So we will have a balance of light and dark. Take that as you will. But for today, we're going to talk about some digital marketing things because that's what we talk about a lot. And so as I was preparing for this one, I was kind of looking at some of the other things that we had done in the past and scrapped it all and decided to start with something new. And so we're going to go through that today. And again, a lot of this stuff is just, some of it's going to be reminders, some of it is repeat information, but most of it we can't all get done. I mean, there's so many things that I'm going to be talking about that we should be doing that I don't do myself. But what I find important is that at least we're reminding ourselves of what we can be doing. And so throughout this, it's about 30 minutes or so about this, the conversation that I'm going to have is at the end of it, I want you to figure out one thing that you can take from it and maybe begin doing. And I'm going to do the same. So let's go ahead and share my screen and get my little PowerPoint thing done. Here we go. And as always, interrupt, put things in the chat. I'm gonna have a little chat box up over here on the side. Yeah, that spring equinox thing is cool. And we're gonna get started. So again, I wanted to kind of go through what some of the important things are that we're currently can be using in marketing our business. And the one thing I think that you're going to see over and over and over and over and over is AI. AI is here. It is something we have to embrace. It is not a if or should we. It is something we have to do now. And what you're going to see is the differentiation between businesses that do and businesses that don't. I have taken a deep dive over the last couple months. I've enrolled in a couple courses through a couple universities. And so just because that's the only way I can really learn anything is if I have a dedicated time for it. Some of the stuff I knew, some of it didn't, but it's going to be a constant, and pretty much anything I talk about for the rest of my life is AI and how we can incorporate it. And you're going to see it throughout the presentation today. All right, so today we're going to talk about some key trends in shaping digital marketing. We're going to look at some specific strategies for success and a few tools and resources that you can utilize to stay ahead. So let's start with key changes and what some emerging trends are for us in this time, in this day and age. So obviously, AI-driven marketing is forefront. It is happening. And so the thing to think about is what it's doing. So AI platforms, and there's many of them out there. Specifically, I've been focused most on ChatGPT. It still is probably one of the most robust platforms, and they continue to update and continue to improve. But there's other AI platforms. There's Claude, there's Grok, there's tons of them out there. But no matter which one it is, AI by its essence is transforming how we create content, how we communicate with customers, how we can target our advertising specifically. And that's going to be an essential tool for us to use in our marketing processes. There's no question that using AI boosts efficiency. I've used it quite a bit in the last few months, and I can't express how faster I'm getting things done with more accuracy, more specificity, however you say that. I'm also going to be able to use AI in predictive analytics. So using AI, putting my analytics data inside of some of the AI, for example, ChatGPT, and asking for it to help me make marketing decisions. And we'll talk more, through AI in future clinics, et cetera. So one thing to think about as we are looking to improve our marketing is how we are engaging with voice search and conversational AI. So now 50% of all searches are based on me talking to my phone or me talking into a Siri or whatever the thing is for Android, but 50% of searches are voice-based. So what does that mean? Well, what that means is each one of us talk differently. We have different language usage, we have different word usage. So what we want to be able to understand is, in order for people to find our businesses, what common vernacular are they using? How do we do that? Well, we engage a ChatGPT. We talk about our business, we describe our business, and we get ChatGPT to let us know what are the different ways that people could search for us using voice. And then we make sure and we implement those in our websites and on our platforms. The other thing is we want to be able to optimize our website platforms for natural language queries. And what that means is, again, finding out what the common words are that people are using to search when they're looking for something on their phone, and making sure and incorporate that into the words and the keywords and to the language, the wording of our website. For decades now, we've focused on keywords and key search and key terms and phrases, and that's still relevant. But we also want a common language wording updates on the website to find out how people are finding us. And then also, by using this data and by structuring this data on our websites, et cetera, it's going to improve our search visibility. So voice search, that's one thing. Next, we're moving into an era of hyper-personalization, where emails that are sent to us, messages that are sent to us are so specific to us that the receiver, and we get those now, we get those by email, we get those, there's lots of large companies use them, but they're actually using AI-powered recommendations to improve engagement. So they're engaging the ChatGPT system, feeding it information about their company, saying, here's who we think is doing business with us. How can I create more personalized messaging to individuals? And what does that message look like? What does that email look like? What are the wording in that email? What are different content strategies that I can then use on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn? But again, really getting into personalization for the different target markets that we have. And then also first-party data, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, replaces third-party cookies. So cookies are those things when you go to the website, it says, hey, this site uses cookies. And basically that's little bits of code in the back that then when you leave the website, if you go to Facebook or if you go to Google, it triggers and ads that come up that are related to that, including your own pop-up. Well, they're getting rid of that actually, because they're wanting more transparency of understanding what businesses are doing. And I'm going to talk about that in a second on the privacy section. Okay, so it's time to embrace short form video and interactive content. Video's been around as long as I can remember, but even more now, data is showing that people want short form video. And short form video can be described as TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook, I think Facebook Stories, YouTube Shorts. And we're talking 6 to 30 seconds long. So creating content that is 6 to 30 seconds long and implementing them and dispersing them on these different platforms. Live and interactive content, polls, Q&A sessions, live shopping events, those type of things are increasing engagement and conversion rates. Because we are where we are with technology, customers are beginning to want that and expect that from us. Using augmented reality and virtual experiences, so virtual showrooms, interactive product demos. It's enhancing engagement and buyer confidence. Someone I was talking with earlier today, he does promotional items. And so one of the things that they've been introduced to is some AI software that you can incorporate your logo into realistic 3-dimensional images, and it creates a product catalog. But he's taking this catalog and putting it on his website so people can actually upload their logos and then browse the catalog and look at the different types of merchandise that's available with their stuff on it. That's amazing. And his providers are producing this for him because they want him to order from them. But again, other things, those are some things to think about as it comes to interactive content moving forward, these in the coming years, and short-term video. Another big thing as we move into this new era is privacy and data regulations. So Google's phase out means, so Google's trying to phase out third-party cookies. And what they're trying to do is prioritize first-party data collection. So in other words, they want to give more credibility to email signups, loyalty programs, surveys. And they're going to boost their index rankings of businesses that use those things as opposed to the blanket cookie, accept all cookies, decide what cookies I want, etc. There's going to be a lot more that we have to focus on about data privacy laws and compliance, specifically around AI. In the fact of protecting our users' information, not putting user content, putting our customer information inside of ChatGPT. We can use our analytics from Square and all the different places we're buying things. We can upload those Excel and CSV files, but we're supposed to remove names and addresses and phone numbers, anything personal. Because once that information is dumped into an AI data center, it never goes away. And it builds on each other, and everyone around the world has access to it. So again, there's going to be a lot more information. We just have to be aware of requiring transparency to our customers, that how are we going to use their emails? How are we going to use their text, their phone numbers, etc. And again, along that is ethical data use and trust building. So businesses that provide value in exchange for data is going to gain trust. And what that means is, if I'm asking for your information, I'm asking you to provide me your name, email address, and phone, I now expect something of value that will benefit me. And by doing that, you then gain trust with me. So another thing just to kind of think about as we move more into these more interactive ways of communicating with our customers. So now we're going to talk about just some basic digital strategies, some tactics that, that all of us can implement. And this is kind of what I was talking about in the opening. Just kind of listen and see, one or two things that you can implement going forward. So content marketing. Next marketing clinic is all about content. The next one I do is just specifically about content. But keep in mind that we have to now, more than ever, educate and provide value in what we're producing with our content. We're not just trying to sell. Consumers want to be educated. They want to understand that there's value in the information, and whether that's a social media post, blog article, PDF, video, interactive, whatever it is, the more value and education we can provide to consumers about what we do will benefit us in the long run. And because of that, using AI tools, it can speed up the content production and increase quality. Now, I've been doing social media content since social media came out. And I tell you, the more I dive into utilizing AI and ChatGPT, it's blowing my mind how great the content and quality is. Now, a lot of this is going to come in on prompting and how much information you feed, and that's not a conversation for today. I'm actually in the process of a 6-week course through LSU just specifically on prompting, how to prompt ChatGPT to give me the best possible results. And I'm just fascinated by the quality, the creativity, the ideas that are coming out of my interaction with ChatGPT to produce content, not only for myself, but for my clients. And again, back to short form video, it's crucial for engagement and brand awareness. I don't know if y'all are like, I don't care to make videos. I don't. The only time you get me on video is when someone's recording something like this. But I know it's something I need to do. I know it's something that's going to help build my business. I'm going to figure out how to way of doing it. But again, it does help me to know that all I'm trying to do is 6 to 30 seconds. I can come up with something to say in 6 to 30 seconds. And then hopefully be able to incorporate some AI video editing tools that doesn't require me to go to Adobe Lightroom and do these things. But again, content marketing, essential. SEO, search engine optimization, and voice search. So one thing, when it comes to SEO, Google now prioritizes in its indexing mobile-friendly websites. Everybody's got a website, better be mobile-friendly. It has to be. But they're actually indexing mobile websites above standard websites. Also, optimizing our websites for voice search means what we're trying to do is target what they call long tail conversational keywords. How would, and again, that would be something I would go into ChatGPT, honestly, and I have a trained GPT just for my Designs Interactive, and I reference it all the time. And I say, hey, go through the designsinteractive.com website and give me a list of specific long tail conversational keywords that I need to incorporate into the website language to optimize my website for voice search. Boom. That's all you got to do. And it's going to provide it. And then what I can do is take those phrases and then build that into the homepage, about us, our services, build those suggestions inside of there. Local SEO. So Google My Business, for example, is an absolute positive 100%. I have to have it. You have to have it. Google My Business is free to set up using a Gmail account. You can create a free Gmail account, but it is a requirement. And if you're not sure if you have one, go to Google, type your business name, hit return, and it should show up on the right side. What you're looking for is that a lot of these Google My Business profiles are created automatically. You may not have created it, but what you want to look, if you find your business, you want to say on that 3/4 of the way down, does it say claim my business? If that's the case, then it was created automatically, and you want to go through the process of claiming your business. And then that way you get your username, password. You can go up and update your information. You can put social media links in it, update photographs, hours, about us, service areas, things of that nature. But again, when it comes to Google, a Google My Business profile is essential. Now, I'm not necessarily a location-based business. I'm a service-based, but I still have a Google. And so I don't necessarily have to show my physical address. I can hide that, but I can show my service areas. So I specifically work in Louisiana. I mean, I'm willing to go anywhere, but so I can show the geographic areas in which I work. But I don't have to show my physical address or my home address, or, I'm a home-based business now. So I don't have to show that. But again, Google My Business. If y'all ever have any questions on that, please let me know. So next strategy is media and social media and influencer marketing. Another thing, and I'm guilty of this, and this is the thing I'm going to try to work with myself. This is my takeaway from this, is I have been using copying and pasting the same content on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, and I just blanket post. And I'm being told that's not the way to do it, that I need to have a specific post tailored for Facebook, different for LinkedIn, different for Instagram. But now, and my problem with that before was like, well, I don't know how to do all that. Now I don't have to know it. I can lean in on ChatGPT to customize my postings for the platforms that I'm on. So that's one of my takeaways that I'm going to start doing. Another thing, micro influencers, people that have 10 to 100,000 followers on social, being able to try to connect with them, to partner with them, to get them to promote or try your product or service or talk about what you do is a great way, cost effective, to get more followers. And by getting more followers, we get more customers. So how do you go about doing that? You go to try to find people on those platforms who have those, I mean, local ones. You can do searches. I haven't tried using ChatGPT, but I'm going to see if I can't say, hey, who are some micro influencers in this area that I can connect with on TikTok or on Instagram, etc. But again, it's a very affordable way of getting our company and our brand and our products and services out to a lot of people. Another part is we really need to get engaged with followers and encourage user-generated content. And basically that means people that post about my work without me posting. And that's done through the messaging, that's done through direct contact. And it does take time to do that. But we know who our most engaged people that like and share and comment mostly on our platforms. Those are the ones we go to. We can direct message, say, I really appreciate the interactivity you do with my site or my Facebook or whatever it is. May I ask you to create some user-generated content? I've had people ask me to do that. I've had people ask me to do that quite a bit on theirs, and I gladly do it, but it just took them asking. So that's one way of looking at this, is encouraging people, encouraging existing customers. If someone that you've done business with is extremely happy with what you've done, ask them to make a post. Say, here's my Facebook profile, or here's my handle. Would you mind making a post about that? Or would you mind, sharing something about that? And it does take time, but that when we see someone outside of ourselves post about our business, if someone sees that, we get a better return, we get better interest, we get more followers. Good old email and text messaging ain't gone nowhere, not going anywhere. It's more powerful than ever. And by incorporating some of the AI chatbots, et cetera, and some, MailChimp even has some of this built in now. We're really looking for highly personalized email sequences, with our names, with our personal information. We can build fields in that address us personally, but users are wanting that. We're not looking for the general blanket email anymore. Text messaging is still one of the most effective direct response channels that we can do to market to customers. And then using drip campaigns inside of email setup. So if someone, signs up for this, and it takes a little time to set these up, and I'm not extremely versed in it, but if they join our mailing list and then basically set a series of actions over time that then send follow-up emails automatically to them. But again, it's just a way of staying in touch. And then once you build that process, once you build that there, it's utilized over and over. But again, with today's technology, it's not that hard to, do a search on how do I create an automated drip campaign for a customer that signed up for my newsletter in MailChimp. And then turn around then and say, okay, what are the different types of emails that I can send? What is the content that I should include in these emails? But again, leaning in heavily on this technology and this that we have available to us. Next, good old paid advertising and retargeting advertising. So by using AI tools, we can figure out what to spend, who to target, where are our target markets at, what areas that we can utilize when we're doing paid on Facebook or Google or Instagram or LinkedIn or any of those things. Leaning in on the AI tools to help us make better decisions. We can dump our customer profile information, not their name, not their address, not their personal, but we can export some of that from, if you have like Square or any of those, or people that buy from you, you can dump that into a GPT and it come up with a profile of what your customer could be. And then you turn around and say, hey, where do I need to spend money? What ads do I need to run? What budget do I need to do? What parameters do I need to do? And again, you're getting like this super intelligent system to give you feedback. TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn, that you're highly encouraged to move beyond just Facebook and Google. And then also retargeting website visitors. So again, we have website visitors that come to the website on, you know, certain landing pages, etc. The more we can get them to go to additional pages or download things, the more our conversion rates, the more improvement we have on our websites, and creating customer engagement and customer loyalty. So here's some tools and resources. And guess what? Number one is going to be AI. I told y'all. So find tools that streamline content creation. ChatGPT, go with it. Help you with graphic design, Canva. Ad copywriting, ChatGPT, Grammarly, those type of things. Midjourney is an AI platform that helps create visuals. Canva also does too. Jasper is something that can help with marketing copy while keeping brand consistency. But I got to tell y'all, you know, there's not a lot out there that ChatGPT can't do. And I wish I'd make a penny off of every time I use the word. But because one thing I find useful is if I just hone in on one platform and use it and really get into it, I begin to understand the capacity of all that it can do. Focusing on analytics. So GA4, that's the Google Analytics. That's the most recent Google Analytic version, I guess, is that you can use. It replaced the old Google Analytics. If you recently installed Google Analytics, it is GA4. If you're not sure, you need to, you know, log into your analytics account and see. You probably have to have it by now because I think they dismantled the old one. But again, what this new Google Analytics does, it focuses more on engagement-based insights. How did they engage? When did they engage? As opposed to just traffic numbers. Used to be, it was like new visitors, return visitors. It was all about the visitor numbers. But now Google is providing us more information about how did they engage us? Where did they engage us? You know, what parts of the website? What did they do? It's more behavior focused, which gives us more insights about our customer. HubSpot is another great platform that creates automatic customer interactions and also improves lead tracking, not free. I don't know if there's a free version of HubSpot, but I mean, I know that HubSpot creates that. HubSpot's been around a long time. Zapier allows apps, connects apps and automates workflows. So again, reducing manual work. That's, you know, another big thing with using this to help us automate things and make things more automated, so that we have to do less. And I recognize more than anybody, you know, taking the time to figure it out, taking the time to implement it it's a process that, you know, that we have to dedicate in order to do it. And that's why I kind of said, figure out something, dedicate time to it, implement that, and then come to something else. But there's no way any of us have the resources or time or financial ability to do all of these things. And so, you know, and I'll come more to that in the wrap up. As I'm about to wrap up anyway. But again, also social media and content scheduling. I use right now Facebook Meta Business Suite myself because it just ties in Instagram and Facebook together. But if you have a bunch, and I'll go do LinkedIn. Those are my three main platforms. And I'll just jump over to LinkedIn and schedule it myself. But Buffer and Hootsuite, they're dashboards that you connect all your profiles into, and you post straight from that dashboard. I used to use Sprout Social when I had a lot of clients to manage, but right now it just wasn't worth the investment for the cost. But again, by using these tools though, and because they're implementing AI-driven models into them, I'm able to get best recommended times to post. And I tell you, I get confused by some of these suggestions I get sometimes. They'll say, 8 p.m. at night, 9 p.m. at night. And that's not something I ever personally would have chosen to send someone or to put out a social media post at 9:30 p.m. But that's just me. And the data is the data, and these back end. So basically, like the Facebook what is it, best time? What it's doing is it's basing it on the behavior patterns of those that are following you and when they're on, because they can track all of that. It tracks all that. So that's when they are on. And so I began to implement that, and I'm seeing a better result about engagement and actual interaction and impressions on the posts, etc. So again, it's more to think about what next steps would be. What are some of the things that, you can see out of all of this when it comes to marketing and promoting your business? What are some next small steps that you can take? And like I said, my next step is going to be taking the time for both myself and my customers whenever I am doing social content, that I'm doing one for Facebook, going back to ChatGPT, asking it to modify it for LinkedIn, and then asking it to modify for Instagram. Sorry, my brain just whoo. So actually, what I want to do before I ask for questions, I want to do a little visual demo for you. I want to get out of this. And this isn't any proprietary information, but here's something I've been working on for a client. Okay. And this, I hope this gives okay, so Capital Construction is a general contractor out of Baton Rouge. I've worked with him for years. So here's an example of the process that I used with him. Actually, Bigby, go ahead and stop recording on this part for me. Okay. And then this way I can show y'all, but I don't need this out on YouTube. So basically, here's how I go about